Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for taking the time to be here today. Today, we welcome two players to the organization, one returning and one new to the organization. Adam Ottavino was a valuable asset to our bullpen last year. He's durable, effective, dependable throughout the entire season. He brings veteran leadership to the pitching staff and pitches in high leverage situations, as a lot of you saw, whether that's bridging the gap and handing the ball off to Edwin or even closing games himself. So very excited to have him back, and equally excited to welcome Omar to the organization. Omar brings a skill set that we value on the offensive side. He displays a solid approach at the plate, contact ability, and provides left-handed bat that will really deepen and blends well with our roster as it's currently constructed. And throughout his career, he's shown impressive defensive skills, and we believe that it'll work extremely well with our pitching staff. I know, both these guys are just as excited as I am to get down to camp, head to Port St. Lucie. Adam, Omar, I know this is a little overdue. I've texted you guys welcome officially back, but we're excited to have you here. Thanks for being on today. And Adam, in your case, welcome back, and Omar, officially welcome.
Thanks, Billy. Adam, would you like to say a couple statements?
Yeah, sure. I guess first of all, I just feel extremely thankful and blessed to be back with the team. It's really exciting. And my family's really fired up for this year. We're getting pretty close here, about a month away from heading down to St. Lucie, and I can't wait. Really looking forward to getting around the group again and seeing what we can do this year.
Great, and Omar?
Yeah, I'm just grateful to be on the team, and I'm excited to be such a good team and trying to win. That's the main goal, and I just want to put my hands on fire for each one of my teammates, and looking forward to being in camp and really excited to be on a really good team.
Thank you. We'll now open up to questions. If you wouldn't mind using the raise your hand feature. And again, when you're called on, please state your name and organization. Our first question will come from Anthony DeComo.
Hey guys, this is for either Adam or Omar. I guess, Adam, you have a perspective of having been here last year, but this is a much different roster than it was a few months ago. What do you just make of everything that's gone on this offseason and what the team looks like going into February?
Yeah, I mean, obviously last year was a great year. We all knew as the season was winding down that there was going to be change coming at the end of the year because there was just so many free agents, and it's just impossible to keep everybody on the same team. But, it seems like for everybody that left, somebody new came in and then some. So, really excited about all the new guys that came and excited to meet them and learn from them and, see how this team gels uniquely this year. But it's definitely been a lot to, read on the internet and all that sort of stuff this year. And it's very exciting.
And I guess, Omar, from your perspective as someone who wasn't here, what was your reaction when you did get traded to the Mets when you did sign with the Mets and, just the talent that is in this clubhouse?
Yeah, pretty happy to see, everybody in the team, and really exciting players that I'm going to be sharing the clubhouse with, and looking forward to being a great team and have a little just give my little push to win ball games.
Thank you.
Next up is Mike Puma.
Omar, knowing they had some catchers already and they have the rookie Alvarez on the way, I mean, what made the Mets appealing for you?
I think my experience and, I've been able to have a good relationship with pitcher staff and learning from each other. And if I can help Alvarez to grow and be part of this team also, I'm going to do it.
And Adam, I mean, you probably had some options to go elsewhere, I would think. Coming back to New York, how important was that for you to kind of stay here?
I don't think it was like uniquely important this time around, location as much as maybe in the past. We're in a good place family wise, but I think the team in particular had such a fun time last year, and I really gelled well with a lot of the coaches and trainers and all the people that work for the organization. So I just felt like 1 year wasn't really going to be, it would have been kind of a bummer to leave. I wanted to come back and see what we can do this year. We had a great regular season last year, and I know that we can push a little harder this year. Hopefully, get a little further in the playoffs, if not, go the whole way, obviously. But it really was just more about the team. I had a great year last year in terms of, fun, interacting with fans, and everybody that works for the club.
And what did you think of the bullpen moves? They re-signed Diaz, brought in Robertson. They've made some moves there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Sugar being back is big. He had one of the most impressive seasons I've ever seen last year, and he's a great friend. So it's awesome to share the pen with him. And the other guys, I don't know them yet. I will get to know them, but I know they're very talented, and certainly. And David's case, he's a guy that I've been watching a long time, and look forward to picking his brain and seeing what I can learn there.
Thank you.
Next up is Will Salmon.
Hey, Omar, just what was your plan or process for kind of getting to know a whole new pitching staff? And you mentioned Francisco Alvarez. Do you have any prior relationship with him at all?
Not yet. I know he stays here in Miami. At some point, he's gonna come back. He's down in Minnesota right now, so I'm just looking forward to kind of meet him and share a little information and kind of give him everything I got from experience and help him through the whole way. And the Fires are getting to know everybody on the Mets. I'm probably gonna be on camp earlier, so I give him more chance and to meet everybody and get the much information as I can for help these guys and obviously to learn from them.
Next, we'll go to Ron Blum.
Hi, for Billy, since it's our first chance to speak to you in a while, could you detail how the concerns came up in Carlos's foot in the examination, and why you guys stopped or determined you would guarantee half of it? And do you feel leaving disappointed that the deal didn't come together?
Appreciate the question, Ron, and the purpose behind asking it. However, I'm not going to go into any detail there, just out of privacy reasons, as well as out of respect to Carlos. So appreciate the question, but I'm not going to elaborate on it.
Okay, and then for Adam, your deal is somewhat unusual in deals from the last few years. How did all the deferred money come about in the negotiations?
I think it's kind of a give and take on both sides, like every negotiation is. I don't want to get too much into it, but ultimately, got to a number that I thought was a little more representative of, my value. I have to wait a little while to collect on all that, but that's perfectly fine. And, I have the opportunity to see what happens this year, and kind of how my season goes. But really, I just wanted to find a way to make it work with this club and come back. Really, that's it. It's really all I can say about that.
Next up, Laura Albanese.
For Billy, just when Steve was asked about the Correa deal, he said he needed one more hitter. Do you still view that as a necessity and something that you're going to be pursuing?
I think we have a strong and deep lineup. I'm confident in our group's ability to score runs, but look, I think this goes without saying, and I think I've said it in the past relating to any one of the areas of the organization. Like, you can always be better. That's kind of the purpose of making sure that you're not sitting in a fixed mindset and you kind of adopt more of a mindset or growth-based mindset where you can always improve. That's what we're going to look to do. You have to look for opportunities out there, and sometimes certain markets are a little bit more quiet at certain times of the year. But you're always looking to get better. But I do think we have a strong lineup as currently configured. But we can always be better.
Oh, and for Adam, you showed some significant improvements last year, and just in terms of your control and your strikeout rate, especially with that slider. What were some of the tweaks or some of the adjustments you were able to make?
Really, it was just a return to some fundamentals. I've had seasons in my past where I had low walk rates and changed some of my approach over the years, one reason or another. But this year, this past year, I really made a concerted effort to throw strike one more often and to challenge people in the zone a little bit, given that I've improved a lot of my pitches. And I was able to kind of get on a good roll with that and keep it going for a while. And that's something that I'm definitely looking to continue.
Back to Mike.
Billy, ideally, would you still like to add another bullpen arm and another outfielder, or is that not crucial?
I'm still engaged and in the market, talking to representation in both spaces, both in the outfield and in the bullpen spot. So still active. Whether anything actually comes to fruition and we're doing another one of these remains to be seen, but definitely still having the conversations.
And will you go into spring training with the idea Escobar's your starting third baseman, or does Beatty have a chance to win that job?
These will be conversations that Buck and I will have, and with the staff as kind of camp goes on. I will remind people that Escobar had a really strong year last year, and Brett was Brett's call up was born out of necessity last year. It was Luis Guillorme had the injury in August, and we were looking for a left-handed bat to kind of complement at that moment in time. And so I don't want to kind of forecast what will come at the end of March. That's why we're going to go down to Port St. Lucie, and that's why we're going to see what we see. And these will be conversations that I have with Buck and the coaching staff, and we'll kind of explore every option. But we feel very good about Eduardo Escobar.
Thanks.
Andy, you're up.
Adam, I read that you'd been working with a pitch timer at home over the offseason to get used to that this coming year. Having done that for a little bit already, how difficult or not difficult of an adjustment do you think that'll be for pitchers generally through spring training to opening day? And do you think that's going to take some time for pitchers to get used to?
It's hard to say. Individually, I feel like it's not going to be that difficult for me. Just a little time of practice has already kind of helped a little bit with that. Also, there's some ways that you can figure out how to kind of stop the clock if need be, and kind of understanding those in the moment when you need a second to kind of collect yourself. That's important. And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be workshopping during spring training. Everybody is across the whole league. So I'm sure some people have a harder time with it than others, but I think overall, we're pretty good at making adjustments as athletes, and I think we'll be all right.
Thanks.
Mark Roseman.
Welcome, Omar. Mark Roseman from Sports Talk New York. I know you've had the opportunity to catch Jose Quintana, David Robertson, and John Curtis. You also mentioned you were going to get down to spring training a little earlier. Just as a catcher, what's this prospect of catching Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer like for you, and what are you looking forward to catching those two guys?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be be behind the plate for them and see as a kid watching them pitch. But now, in terms of working, I'm just got to get to know them and what they like, during games, what they want me to say or what they want me to do for them. I'm going to still doing my homework. I'm going to still doing my game plan and trying to match their game plan with mine. And, have just one game plan together and try to execute it. That's the bottom line we got.
Mark Healy?
This question's for Buck. Of course, welcome back, Adam, and welcome, Omar. But this question's for Buck. Hey, Buck, the World Baseball Classic going to is going to be happening this spring. And, with the rule changes and everything, Harry Rose mentioned this yesterday on social media. How much is not having everyone in camp, because the WBC is not going to be, following the rules that are going into place for Major League Baseball this year. So how much is that going to impact you getting everybody up to speed before the start of the season?
Well, it'll be a unique challenge. It's kind of, nobody can say for sure, but you just got to be prepared for it. Most things with MLB, once you look into it, you understand the challenges, why they can't do it that way. We're not alone. There's other countries competing, and they're following a different set of rules than we are. So you're trying to be fair to all the competition in the WBC, and I'm sure they felt like, to be fair to everybody, this is the way that the direction they were going to go. And the challenge is then presented to the major league clubs. The good part of it is we have a lot of good players. The bad part is those good players from all over the world are going to be leaving us for different periods of time. So, we thought the lockout was a unique challenge last year, and it put us in a position where we couldn't do some things that we normally would do in the spring. And unfortunately, there'll be some of that this year. But, we'll make the adjustments. It's something that's good for baseball and good for the industry. So, it's up to us to make the adjustments and prepare. We've got some got a lot of guys with a lot of baseball acumen that will pick up things very quickly, and it's up to us to be able to present it properly, so the players know what's coming and what's going to be expected of them. And guys like Adam, and I'm sure Omar, some have already been thinking about it, and I think it's something. Baseball is a game of constant adjustments anyway, not only by players but by staff. You take what's presented to you and you make the best of it. So it's not like the Braves are going to be able to do it one way and we're not going to be able to do it that way. The difference is it's not completely fair, but it is what it is. Some teams won't have as many players missing as other teams will, but that's part of having good players.
Abby?
This question's for Omar. As a catcher, how do you approach some of the new rules and the timers, and how do you sort of in your role help pitchers try to adjust, and how do you think that people are going to be able to adjust in spring training? Is that enough time to fully get adjusted before the season starts?
I don't know if it's gonna be enough time, but I think we are gonna make the adjustment and trying to get better on it. On the time during games, I think that's where homework and the plan that's gonna come in place even more, and just keep our body working on the same page, and everything's gonna keep moving smooth. So that's the thing we're gonna work the spring training.
Thank you.
Mike again.
Bill, you guys were 5th in runs scored in baseball last year. Are you confident that this lineup you're bringing back that you have right now is as good or better than last season?
And that's the goal, we were 5th in runs scored. I think we were 2nd in on base percentage. And I a lot of you have seen plenty of games at Citi Field. It's not exactly the greatest home run environment in the world, but some reasons for optimism on our part is one, we're going to see a little bit more restrictions, obviously, on defensive positioning. As we see the restrictions on defensive positioning that happen in the game, I think it stands to reason that some contact and a contact approach would get rewarded. There'd be more traffic on the bases. To couple with that high on base percentage, you're probably going to see average go up a little bit. and you look in our offensive environment, you know, there's many ways to score. Quality base running, having a lot of, you know, hitters that can manipulate the barrel a little bit. So, and I think even when you factor in, you know, the ballpark environment, the stadium that we play in, you know, there's certain metrics out there that are, you know, out in the public space that show, all right, what happened if this team played in a context neutral environment, right? That's, I think WRC Plus is one of the ones that does that. And I think we were third in baseball in offensive production. So, you know, while hitting a 3-pointer is cool, you know, every now and again, and having guys that can put a ball in the seats, I want a lineup that's able to beat people in a number of different ways. And we know one thing is a given: we are going to play 81 games in that ballpark. And so having guys that can do and execute, you know, an offensive strategy that if Buck wants to execute a particular strategy or implement a particular strategy on any one given night or against any kind of particular, you know, pitcher, having hitters that can do that, I think that provides value. You know, so I like power, I like contact, I like on base. I'm kind of greedy. I like it all, but I want to be able to beat anybody in any particular way. So I think that fits our scheme. I think that fits our ballpark. So I think there's reasons that we should feel good about our offense. Where it's going to rank is where it's going to rank, but the components are there to have a successful offensive season.
And Laura again.
Billy, have you guys opened talks at all for extensions for Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil? And is that something that the organization is thinking of pursuing?
You know, any kind of conversations that we're going to have with our players, I always want to keep those internal. So it's just I'm not a big believer in talking about those types of things or anybody's employment or contract status or any of those types of natures. I don't like doing that publicly. So I'm gonna just give you the I wouldn't say that I tend to throw out now and again.
Ron?
For Billy, the slight change in dimensions in right center field, is that at all baseball driven, or is that just like the fan experience commercial driven, or is it part of both?
That was fan experience driven. So you know, we've been able to try to you know, forecast what that, you know, will ultimately mean, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, real material on the baseball side, but it's a fan experience initiative.
Adam, Omar, welcome back. Thank you very much for you two and Billy and Buck for joining the call today, and we appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you very much.
That's my kind of press conference there. Yes, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for showing.
Thank you.